Hello, welcome back. We are now at lesson 3. I can't believe we are already into the third lesson of No More Grammar Groans. Today we have another sentence pattern and we also have a quiz to grade. I hope that your prepositions are coming along well. I'm sharing the screen with you now so you can see what I'm seeing. Noun, verb, noun to sentence pattern is today. Before we get to the sentence pattern, though, I would like to talk about our quizzes. The first one is prepositions. How far have you gotten with your preposition list? Are you finished memorizing them? Let me know. Send a message to me so that I can see whether or not you have memorize them all or not. Again, like I mentioned in the last lesson, if you just know 90% of them, that is great, as long as I know that you can recognize prepositions at the beginning of a prepositional phrase when you see them, because again, it's so important that you mark those phrases out so that you can then just have a few words to deal with when finding the parts of speech. All right, number 2 is the NV, which is the noun verb sentence pattern quiz. So we are going to jump over to that, and I am going to grade it for you, or I'm going to show you the correct answers while you grade it. So get a different colored pen in case there's anything you have to correct. Maybe you got it all right, and that's fantastic. But if not, just remember to make sure you mark out or correct anything that you need to correct with that red pen so that you can see the final correct answer. Let's get started. Now, I did have here that you may use your notes. So if you did not use your notes and you want to go back and check over your answers before I start grading, you can pause now and go ahead and check some of that work with your notebook. If you feel confident and ready to move on, then let's continue forward. Number 1, what does the N stand for in a NV sentence pattern? Now, if you tell me noun, it's not really right. It is a noun, but I want to know what noun it is, which noun. I don't want to know person, place, or thing. I want to know what noun in the sentence. If you wrote subject, then that is correct. Again, I apologize for my handwriting. What kind of verb is the verb in a noun-verb sentence pattern? Remember? It is an action verb. Action verb. What do you always do before labeling a sentence? You should always mark out prepositional phrases. Mark or cross out, however you wrote that. Cross out prepositional phrases. Okay, I'm just going to shorten that a little bit due to this mouse. What does a prepositional phrase start with and end with? So there's 2 separate answers there. What does it start with? That one's a really easy one. A prepositional phrase has to start with a preposition. That's why we call it a prepositional phrase. Must start with a preposition. And what does it end with? It ends with a noun, which is the object of the preposition. Let's move on. Number 1. If you have marked out prepositional phrases, you would have marked out on September 11, 2001, and by terrorists. And then your action, you ask what is happening, was attacked. You should have, and I have a feeling some of you did not remember to do the was. Was in this situation is helping that action verb. So was is a be verb, was can be a linking verb, and was can be a helping verb. And here it is helping an action verb. So when you have an action verb following the what looks to be like a be verb, then you know it's really actually a helping verb in this situation. So, and then we have the subject, who was attacked? America. Number 2, 2 planes were flown into the World Trade Center towers. We look for prepositional phrase, into the World Trade Center towers. Now we have 2 planes were flown. What is the action of the sentence? Were flown. What was flown? Planes. Who knows what this would be here, what 2 would be? It's not part of the sentence pattern. I just wanted to know if you know what it is. If you said adjective, you are correct because it tells how many planes. Okay, so you would be correct there. Just erase that here so there's no confusion. Number 3, in Washington, D.C., a plane was flown into the Pentagon. Prepositional phrases, into the Pentagon, and yes, in Washington, D.C. There's 2, one at the beginning, one at the end. Verb, again, has a helping verb. Was flown, that's the action. What was being done was flown. And then what was flown? The subject is plane. Number 4, firefighters raced to the scenes of the attacks. 2 prepositional phrases, to the scenes and of the attacks, which leaves us with 2 words, which makes it really easy. What was the verb? What was the action being done? Raced, and who raced? Firefighters. Good job. Number 5, so many were killed from the vicious attacks. Now, because we don't have people in here, then we're going to use many as our subject. Many were killed, because that we are assuming is talking about people. And then, of course, from the vicious attacks. And I kind of went backwards on that because I wanted to catch that. Were killed is the verb. Who were killed? Many were killed. And then we remember. There is no prepositional phrase there. We, and then the subject, remember. We are finished with the quiz now. If you haven't finished grading it, you may want to pause because I'm going to clear the screen in 3, 2, 1, clear. You can always back it up if you need to. Today, you only have 1 page of notes to write. So that is a little exciting, I'm sure, for you. Start off the top of a new page with N-V-into. Make sure you write these exactly the way I do so there's no confusion. Now, what does the into stand for? Into, which we call noun to, is the direct object. So we have subject, verb, direct object. That is a sentence pattern. I want to be really clear. You'll never have a noun, noun to verb. You will never have a noun to noun verb. It will always be subject, verb, then noun to. How to find the noun to. Here's a sentence. Joe told the story to the entire class. You ask the verb, which if you look at this sentence, let's look at it first before we go too much further. We have to cross out the prepositional phrase. So what is the prepositional phrase there? To the entire class. So mark through that. I can't really mark through it when I'm in this mode because I can't see where my cursor is. So just make sure you mark through to the entire class. And when I click out of this, I will do it for you. But for now, I want you to do it just to make sure you can see it. Then we have left Joe told the story. So what's the verb? What's the action? Told. So put a V above told. And then who told? Joe. So we have noun verb at this point. Joe told. But there's another noun, and we need to figure out what that noun is. So that's when you say Joe told what? What was being told? Because the direct object is the one receiving the action. The direct receiving of the action. So we call that direct object. Joe told what? Story. Story is the direct object. Told story. Put a noun or into above story. Here are some examples. I am going to click out now. Going to mark this out to the entire class. Verb, Joe, and then Joe told what? Story. So this is what it should look like. And when you diagram, you see down here at the very bottom, the diagramming for that. It looks a lot like the noun verb, but then you're going to put this little line here and add your direct object there. Now, I want you to write these sentences, the examples. Number 1, the huge truck hit a telephone pole. The huge truck hit a telephone pole. June and Beth told the secret to me. June and Beth told the secret to me. Did the boy in the last row read his assignment and do the problems? Did the boy in the last row read his assignment and do the problems? I want you to pause and go through and mark out the prepositional phrases, and then I want you to find the verb first, then the subject, and then find the direct object by asking the verb who or what. So hit pause, and when you're finished, come back. Let's check and see how you did. The huge truck hit a telephone pole. Do you see a prepositional phrase? I don't. So what is the action here? What's being done? What hit? Truck is the subject. So truck hit what? Hit what? Pole. You should just have pole there. Telephone would be an adjective describing what kind of pole. So truck hit pole. Number 2, I see a prepositional phrase, to me. I also see a verb, the action of told. And then I see a compound subject. There's 2 subjects, which we call a compound. June, Beth told what? Secret. Told secret. Did the boy in the last row read his assignment and do the problems? You have in the last row. And then our action would be read and do. There's 2 verbs there. And we have 1 subject, boy, but I see another part of the verb. Did read and did do. Okay, that's the helping verb there. This is a little confusing on this one. Then what was read? Assignments, yes, read what? Assignment. And do what? Problems. So we have 2 direct objects and 2 verbs. And in those cases, when you fill out, you would put, for example, boy here where it says noun. And then you would put verb. Did read / do. And then direct object, because you have 2, you would put assignment slash problems. Sorry, I'm running out of room here. And that is it. I'm going to clear the screen. So 3, 2, 1. You have all of your information that you need on your examples. Sentences 1, 2, and 3, I would like you to diagram. I diagram number 3 for you, but you should be able to do number 1 and 2. Just fill in the subject where the subject goes, the verb where the verb goes, and the direct object where it goes. For number 2, where your compound subject is, just put June, comma, Beth, June/Beth, just so that it's, the person looking at your diagram will be aware of the fact that you recognize that there are 2 subjects there. I think that may do it for our notes. I want you to look here at these 2 pictures. We're going to make a sentence looking at these 2 pictures, and your sentence needs to be, I want you to look here at these 2 sentences. I'm sorry. Now we are going to make a sentence. You see 2 pictures here, and I want you to make 2 different sentences. You will need to use the noun, verb, noun, 2 sentence pattern. And it's best to go ahead and let's just do it in the way that we would label it. So this first sentence here, or the first picture here you see is a man and his dog. And what are they doing? What's the action? Walking. Right. So who is walking? Now you could say the man and the dog, but you got to have a direct object. So think about who is getting walked. I want you to pause for a second so you can get your sentence together and then push play, and let's see if it matches my sentence or somewhat close. My sentence would be, the man walked the dog. It can just be simple. If you want to get creative, you could say, in the afternoon, it's a prepositional phrase, the man walked his pet dog down the street. You still have the exact same verb, walked, the exact same subject, man, and the exact same direct object, dog. Let's look here at the second picture. We see a girl. I see a pretty dress. And the action that I feel would bring me a direct object, an action that could receive that, a action that the direct object could receive, would be wears. So think about girl and wears, and then a direct object. What does she wear? My sentence is, the girl wears a pretty dress. Girl as the subject, girl wears what? What is receiving the action? Dress. Now we are going to fill in the blanks with pictures. It is the noun, verb, noun, 2 sentence pattern. Now, I am going to show you the way that I'm going to do the pictures, but that doesn't mean that the way you do it is wrong. Because I have these pictures, they move around, and we can put them wherever we want. For example, if we said the car grabbed, well, that doesn't really make sense because a car can't grab. So car is probably going to be the indirect object. The sandcastle grabbed, that wouldn't make sense. So do your best at trying to make sense out of these pictures and where they can go. Please pause so that you can have some time to figure it out, and then I will show you what I have done. So just spend a couple minutes doing it and then come right back. Number 1. For this one, I am going to do the dog. The dog grabbed a shoe because I think of we have 2 Labrador puppies, Labrador Retriever puppies, and they just think it's just the most amazing thing that they can grab a shoe and run with it. And then they want you to chase them. And so this is why I thought this would be a great sentence. The dog grabbed a shoe. Then I'm going to do the girl built a sandcastle. Now I'm going to go back to that first sentence. The dog would be the subject, grabbed would be the verb, and then shoe would be the direct object because dog grabbed what? Shoe. The girl built a sandcastle. Built is your verb, girl is who built, and then girl built what? Sandcastle. I'm not sure yet on that one, but I know the fourth one, I'm going to put the boy over here and then the ball. The boy kicked the ball. What's the action? Kicked. And who kicked? Boy. And then ball would be the direct object. Boy kicked the ball, or boy kicked ball. Going to do the chimpanzee drove a car. Drove is the action. Chimpanzee is the subject, and the car is the direct object. Going to move the mermaid here and the seashell. Painted is your verb. Mermaid is your subject. Mermaid painted what? Seashell. I don't know if your sentences were the same as mine, or maybe you came up with something different. It's possible. It's fine. If you had somewhat similar sentences, that's great. As long as you had sentences that made sense for the direct object to be the direct object and not in a subject position. It is your turn now. I want you to, it can be you have to be a little careful on your verbs. Something like this, you can't just choose any action verb, because if I put sleep, that's going to be hard to have a direct object following that. So it needs to be an action in which a noun can receive it. Be very careful when you're choosing it. Now, I want you to fill in the blanks yourself. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 sentences. I want you to pause and take some time to write some good sentences, making sure you have a subject, a verb, and then a direct object. And you're welcome to send me those sentences so I can check them and make sure you're on the right path, or you could have your mom look at them or your dad. I'll do the first one, help you along with the first one. I think you can do it. So if you don't need my help, just hit pause and go on and do your thing. But if you do, let's see, we're going to think of a verb. Actually, it might be easiest, in order not to get confused of the verb, you might want to think of the subject first, maybe. So I'm going to say, girl, girl, the girl. And then over here, I'm going to put book as my subject, because not my subject, my direct object, because I'm decided to use the verb read. The girl read a book. Think about some of the sentences you've seen and just make one like it. Just changing the verb a little bit, the subject and the direct object. I know you can do this. You guys are, I'm sure, doing very well in this. So just put pause now, and I will see you in a minute. This is one of your homework assignments. Now, if you like to draw, you will enjoy this. If you're really computer techie, then you may want to just find some, we call them PNG pictures on Google, in which it just has, there's no background. It just has a little picture you can put in on the line there. But drawing isn't difficult because I'm not asking for a, super artistic drawing here, just something very simple. And what you're going to do is you're going to end up drawing both nouns, the subject and the verb. Not the verb, you're going to draw the subject and the direct object. You can see the verbs all the way down. Ate, baked, threw, spilled, felt, waved, sewed, read. For the first one, don't use mine. I'm going to use one that you wouldn't have thought of. Spider. I'm going to say spider. So I'm going to draw a little easy spider. I don't know. I guess it probably doesn't really look much like a spider, but I'm not an artist. It can be an ant. Ate the fly. Ooh, gotta draw another insect here with the. And then, of course, this is noun, verb, noun two. And under it, if you feel like nobody can tell what it is, just go ahead and write it. The ant ate the fly. Don't use my sentence. I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have come up with that sentence. It's a simple sentence, so I'm sure you could have, but I tried to pick something that I didn't necessarily think anybody else would pick. Really need to get practice diagramming this. So what I would do over here, after I drew that out, then what I would do is make sure that line is straight. It should not be slanted, or that would mean something else. So it now is ant, ate, fly. You should be able to do this all the way down. And that just gives you that extra practice so that you have less chance of forgetting. You also have a worksheet. You're going to be pretty busy this week with homework, but one of the reasons I wanted to do that is just because it is a little bit more involved this time. I really don't want you to forget how to do these noun, verb, noun two sentence patterns. Here you have some information about Leonardo da Vinci. Now, if you don't know much about Leonardo da Vinci, he is an amazing person. I actually am considering, when I have a little time, to put together a flex course on Leonardo da Vinci. He is, to me, the most amazing, smartest man ever. The things he came up with, the things he was interested in, the things he did is just amazing. You might want to look up on Google Leonardo da Vinci for kids, and you'll find some interesting things there. So all the way down, all of these sentences are true about him, and I want you to find the prepositional phrase. This is first, and then I want you to find the verb, then the subject, then the direct object. Now, please take your paper. There is a place I need to correct. On number 17, it says his assistants inherited his estate after his death. That, I guess, the what is it called? The autocorrect corrected that and put assistants. And I didn't want that. I wanted his assistant inherited his estate after his death. And in number 2, it is not a noun, verb, noun, two sentence pattern. Number 2 is not one. I want you to figure it out. I pretty much have given it away. I want you to figure out what's going on with number 2. I think those are the only places that I found some not consistency there. For creative writing, I'm giving you 2 options. And if you really love creative writing, you are welcome to do them both. The 2 options, the first one is a how-to poster, and the second one, a children's picture book. A how-to poster. And I remember I really like to see pictures with these creative writing assignments. I'm a visual person, and it just helps me to enjoy the poem or whatever it is you're writing when I see a picture. Here is a how to clean your room. And when you write a how-to, you're going to stick just with you could use prepositional phrases, but I really want you just to do verb, direct object. I want to show you the subject. The subject's a little tricky. In each of these, it says gather the dirty clothes and put in the laundry. There's actually two there. There's gather and put. So you would put gather is your verb and put, okay? And then close is your direct object. All the way down. Number 2, make the bed. 3, throw trash in the garbage. 4, put shoes in the closet. 5, hang clean clothes on hangers. 6, close the dresser drawers. 7, wipe the dust off the furniture. Vacuum the carpet. Number 8. Number 9, place books in the bookshelf. And number 10, keep the room clean. Here, there is something missing. What is it? It's supposed to be a noun, verb, noun, 2-sentence pattern, but there is something that we're not able to label. Do you know what it is? It's the noun. You can't label the main subject. There's no main subject. However, there is a main subject, and it's called the understood you. So even though we don't have it written out, we know that all the way down, the you is the subject. You gather the dirty clothes. You put in the laundry. You make the bed. You throw trash in the garbage. You put shoes. So when you put it that way and you see these yous here, now you have the noun, verb, noun, 2-sentence pattern. Here's another verb here, and of course all this is prepositional phrase. You make bed. I want you, another student did one on how to carve a jack-o'-lantern. Think about a how-to. There's lots of different things I know you know how to do that I don't know how to do, so I'm looking forward to some of you choosing this option. This option, it's not necessarily the easier option, but you only need one picture, so that might be something you go for. The next option is the picture book. And so here is the beginning of my picture book. Day at the Beach by Erin Santor, and I have a pretty cover there of a day at a beautiful beach, it looks like. My first page is at the beach, I ride a boogie board. You can see here my prepositional phrase. You're keeping this children's book very, very simple. At the beach, you also don't need to mark out anything. At the beach, I ride what? Boogie board. Don't add anything that doesn't need to be added. That starts to make things confusing. I build a sandcastle. So you have I as a subject, build as the verb, castle. My mom makes lunch. Mom, subject, makes, verb, lunch, direct object. We find shells on the sand. On the sand is a prepositional phrase. We find shells. Now this does take some time. It took me quite a bit of time to do this. So this is not going to be an assignment you're going to be able to easily finish if you're wanting to do it well. I see dolphins. I being the subject, see verb, dolphins indirect object. We watch the surfers on the waves. Prepositional phrase is what? On the waves. What's the verb? Watch. Good. And who watches? We watch. And we watch what? Surfers is the direct object. Down below, my dad and I get our toes wet. So now we have wet toes. Get is the verb, dad and I. Toes is the direct object. My mom watches us from under the umbrella. What's the action verb? Watches. Who watches? Subject. Mom, and direct object, who watches what? I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Mom watches who? Us. Right. From under the umbrella can be marked out as prepositional phrase. We eat watermelon for a snack. Prepositional phrase for a snack. Then the verb is eat. Who or what eats? We. We eat what? Watermelon. Excellent. At the end of the day, I see prepositional phrases there, 2 of them. We watch the sunset. What's the action? Watch. Who watches? We watch, and we watch what? Sunset. So that is your creative writing options, the how-to poster or the children's picture book. The how-to poster should include, try to get 10 sentences in there. Try to break it down, 10 different steps. And then your story, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I really am looking for 10, a minimum of 10 sentences that have noun, verb, noun to sentence pattern. So good luck with that. If you have any questions, please contact me. You know how to, I think all of you now know how to contact me, and I will do my very best to respond in 24 hours. If you don't hear from me during that time, it's possible that it's gotten missed. Sometimes it goes to junk mail, and so I just want you to know that I'm not ignoring you. I actually check often to see if there's any comments, but sometimes it does get looked over. So if you just maybe send me another message, hopefully I'll see that one. And that does it for today. You have a creative writing assignment in which you can choose one of 2 options. You have a worksheet about Leonardo da Vinci that has a whole bunch of sentences that you will be finding the noun, verb, noun to sentence pattern. And you have the fill in the blanks with the pictures that you will be drawing a noun and a direct object on that. So you have 3 activities. So make sure that you're working hard and you get it done. If you have not learned those prepositions yet, get on it. I enjoyed this class. Thank you so much for being a part of it, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.